Good evening. Welcome to the January 20th, 2026 Select Board meeting. This meeting will be broadcast live and recorded by Foxboro Cable Access. We're going to start, we'll do the pledge, and then we're going to go into executive session. We will be returning out of executive session at about 7 o'clock.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a recommendation to go in.
Motion to enter into executive session for the Select Board to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property of 76 North High Street pursuant MGL C30A 21A6.
Is there a second?
Second.
All vote.
Mark, yes.
Stephanie, yes.
Bill, yes.
Amy, yes.
Debbie, yes.
Okay, we will see you around 7 o'clock. Hey, welcome back. Just exited executive session. And first thing on is citizens input.
Everybody come in.
Do we have, good morning, Joe. Do we have it? Morning, afternoon. Do we? We already did it. Do we have anybody on Zoom?
Nobody.
No. Okay. And nobody here in the crowd for citizens input? All right. Let's move right on to Rob Tellers.
Great, they're right here. I'll probably do a little intro. Hi, Cheryl, can you hear us? And Maddie, can you hear us? Okay, great. Can we hear you? Nope.
Nope.
Hold on, let's get this technology working. Try again, please.
Good evening, I'm Cheryl.
Okay, great, good. So, Select Board members, this is our consultant that's working with us on our strategic plan. As the residents know, we undertook a strategic plan and we're still in the early stages. We have Cheryl and Maddie here. They've been our primary contacts. We've had a couple sort of working meetings where we're gathering documents and outlining processes, and at this point, they requested to come in and meet with this board. They do plan, I believe, on coming in April to meet in person, but right now they're going to give us us and the residents a bit of an overview of the process and just introduce themselves. So if I may turn it over to Cheryl and Maddie.
Thank you very much. We're pleased to be even virtually. We'd rather be there in person, but we'll certainly see you soon. I am Cheryl Trent. I am your project manager for your strategic planning project. With me tonight is Maddie Shea, or Madeline Shea, and she is also a consultant on the project, and you will be working directly with both of us. We've been quite busy so far on your plan, and we wanted to give you a quick update, answer any questions, and let you know what our plan and our timeline is moving through the rest of the and into the fall. I hope you're aware that at the end of our process, September, October, maybe November, we will be bringing you a brand new strategic plan for you to approve as part of your regular process and integrating that strategic plan into the overall culture and work of the organization moving forward. So to get from here, where we are today, to there, what I wanted to do first is give you a little bit of background on me and have Maddie give you a little bit of background on her, talk about the overview of our strategic plan and the process and approach, talk to you about the timeline and some of the deliverables, and then certainly answer any of your questions. Because we're virtual and we can't really see you, if you want to interrupt, absolutely encourage that. You'll just have to do it pretty loudly to get through me, because I get quite excited about working for cities and towns in strategic planning. That's my background. 25 years working in cities and towns and counties across the country. The classic route where I have my master's in public administration and wanted to be a city manager, and ended my career about 15 years ago officially when I opened my own consulting firm, and I do nothing but consult back to cities and counties on strategic planning, organizational assessments, board retreats, and it's all focused for me around facilitation. That's the technique and the tool and the lens that I work with when I work with you on your strategic plan. So Maddie, you want to say hi really quick before we go through our process?
Sure. Good evening. Thank you all for having us today. My name again is Maddie Shea. I'm a consultant with Raftellus. Been here for about a year, but have been doing this sort of work, working with strategic planning, facilitation, strong background in community engagement with really local governments and some state government agencies for about 6 years. Also have a MPA public administration background, but went straight into consulting and never looked back. So I'm really excited to be working with you all and the entire Foxborough community on the development of this plan. And we'll be happy to answer any questions as we go through this.
So as we hop right on into an overview of the strategic plan, one of the first things that I wanted to highlight was that we think of a strategic plan for your answering 4 main questions. And this is a community-driven plan. So in essence, the community will be answering these questions for us. The first question is a current status question. Where are we right now today? What's happening? What's going well? What might be frustrating or confusing or missing? The question we ask is a visioning question. Where do we want to be in the future? What does that look like? Tell us your hopes, your dreams, your aspirations for the future of the community. And then once you know where you are today and where you want to be, we can start answering the question, how are we going to get there? What are the most important issues that we're going to need to align around? What are our priorities within those issues? And then even what are some very specific goals and objectives and action steps that we're going to be taking in the coming years to achieve that? And then there's always the fourth question, which is often sort of left by the wayside, but to me it's critical. It's how are we going to know? How will we know if we were successful at doing what we wanted to do? And that's where some outcomes and some measurements come in. What is it you want to be different in the future that looks different, feels different, acts different than it does today? And how can we measure that? Sometimes you can't measure things by dollars or percentages, numbers. Sometimes it's a community feeling. And that's why you are doing a statistically significant survey, which I'll touch on in a moment. So the next thing I wanted to point out was there is a relationship between your master plan, your big overarching community growth and zoning and land use plan, and the strategic plan and your budget. And I look at them as concentric circles. So the master plan is the largest and most broad, most visionary of all the plans that you're likely to have. One sort of step down from there are these long-range plans. Many communities, for example, have long-range plans around parks or roadways, bridges, investments in water or wastewater. And those follow along with the comprehensive plan hand in hand. And then to me, it comes to the strategic plan, which is specific to the community. It's not as broad as your master plan, and it's very, very clear in terms of what exactly it is you're aligned around, what are the most important things. So you can think of it as I wouldn't use the word limiting because that has a connotation that you're limited, and you're not. But it's very aligned and very clear, very strong and solid direction. There won't be any confusion as to what anything in your strategic plan means or how to accomplish it by the time we bring it back to you. Because what it does is it drives your budget. It drives where you invest your money because your community told you these were your most important issues and your biggest priorities. So of course you would invest your money there. So then let's move on just a little bit to how we're going to tackle your project. And we're fortunate enough to be able to work with your outstanding team there at the city. And I can't say enough about them. They're responsive. They've been extremely helpful. And they're really, really concerned, as we are, about giving you a plan that the community understands, that the community created, and that really, truly makes sense. Because sometimes you get into these conversations and it's so big or so hard to grasp or so unattainable that it just doesn't feel like it can be real. We want to give you a plan that you use, that you pull out literally and look at as you're making decisions. And somebody comes to you with an important project and you say, okay, how does this align with a strategic plan? And you use it as a decision-making tool. And in order to get there, the first step is going to be the statistically significant community survey. You are working with the National Community Survey, or NCS. It is the gold standard in community surveys, and it's run by a company called Polco. We're currently using and working with their expertise to design the questions that your community will be asked. They will have a sample that is statistically significant, but your entire community will also be able to take this survey, including you, if you would like to. I would encourage you to. And we don't want anything to detract from that really super important statistical information. So that's going to be our focus for the next 2.5 months, almost exclusively. February and most of March, with a report out in April for the results of the survey. we're working in the background to design the next few steps. We're researching and reviewing all of your documents, but you also are going to start hearing from us in terms of some listening sessions for the community, interviews that we want to do with some of your key stakeholders, and we also talk to your staff and figure out from your community's perspective, what should that general framework be for a strategic plan? We also want to create vision at some point in September. And we kind of jumped there because there are a lot of things happening in your community right now, big, important things. And we want to make sure we keep the plan moving, but we also want to make sure we're getting great engagement. So we're not sitting around during the summer month. During the summer months, we're still engaging with your community. We're also behind the scenes crafting this framework and coming to this open house in September and asking the community to have a really strong conversation with us about a vision for the future. We actually have a graphic facilitator who'll be there who's going to draw this amazing community-based vision for the future. And then we'll take that and we'll start to create an actual draft plan that we want to review internally with your team, sort of the reality check, and of course come back to the community and review that with them to make sure it says what they wanted it to say before we bring it to you for adoption. I just kind of speed dated you through that timeline. So I will come back to it absolutely if you need to. That's the big picture, and where we can really, you can keep going, Maddie, if you like, where we can really sort of hit the high points is the survey. Then in April, the listening sessions and the interview. In May and June, continuing to touch your community. You have Founders Day, for example, in June. There are lots of community events you have in the summer where we can continue to ask people questions around strategic planning. And then have our framework conversation and our vision with the community, and then the draft plan. So this is all flexible and adaptable. Put ourselves on really getting you a plan, like I said, that makes sense to your community, that makes sense to you. And if we need to change some things up to make that happen, that's exactly what we would like to do. And we're in really close contact with your project team there at the city. And so anytime we need to change something or have a course correction, it'll be really easy for us to do. That is sort of the bulk of our conversation, with the exception of some details about the survey. I'm going to hit them fairly high level, and I know your team has some great information as well, but there's a timeline associated with that. As I mentioned, they truly want it to be statistically significant. So they start with some very specific mailing and contacting people to make sure they get that randomized response. And a few weeks after that, it's open to the whole community, open through a point at the end of February, beginning of March, where they close and they write the report out, which will be ready sometime in April. And that report will be critical as we start to craft the conversations with the community, the interviews, the listening sessions, the summertime engagement, all the way up to that open house, so that we can follow up on some of the results that we had in the survey. This is a really important piece, and I'm really glad you took the time to do it, because I think it'll be critical what your community says in a real, a very valuable and insightful way. All right, I think that is it for us, but we wanted to make sure that if you had any questions, we could answer them. And Maddie, just want to flip to the next slide really quick, because then, oh, sorry, Maddie already brought us back. I was just going to give you our contact info. It's fine, you can get it from Paige.
1 second.
Oh, that's all right. I was going to say, you can always contact us, certainly work through Paige or any of your other team, but you're welcome to reach out to us directly. We will be, as Paige said, on the ground in April. We'll have a face-to-face update with you at that time, as well as our community listening sessions and some meetings with your department heads. But you are welcome to reach out at any time. Now, I know that was really quick. I wanted to be effective and efficient, but if I went too quickly, now is your time to answer or ask any questions that you might have of us. We'd be happy to answer anything you need.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, Mark Elfman. You used the phrase open house a couple of times. Tell me a little bit about that. Is that going to be, you're going to be at Founders Day with a booth, or you're going to be here? What's that concept?
Thank you for the question. This is a great opportunity for me to talk about the community engagement piece, which I know is critical to you all. So I'm going to separate the open house, which when I use that, for me, that's a singular event, like a very large community meeting. We're not quite sure yet what it exactly looks like, but usually, let's just think of it as one big meeting with literally hundreds of people is just fine, that get together and we ask a series of questions about their vision for the future. What are their hopes and dreams and aspirations? What do they really want to see years from now? How do they want to describe the community? What is it that's changed or different for the better in Foxborough 15 or 20 years from now? And we also ask more specific questions about, do you have any specific projects or initiatives? How do you think we can get there? What do you think we need to focus on? How would you, if you were the consultant, how would you recommend to the select board what were the most important priorities? We walk your entire community at usually it's one meeting, but it can also be several. We're not quite sure we're there with a design on that yet, what might work best for you. Setting that aside, in the summertime, yes. We might not personally be there. And again, these are all some details that haven't really been set yet. But we have created and are working very closely with Maura to create communication materials, handouts, flyers, ways that people can answer simple questions about strategic planning in a way that's engaging and easy for them. And we can continue to keep the strategic plan a part of the conversation and hopefully reach people who might not normally participate in, say, maybe that might not be at this meeting, but it's the future of the community is important to them. And how can we get them engaged in this conversation? And your team and I have talked a lot about things, local community service clubs, Rotary, for example, all of your volunteer boards and commissions, how to kind of wrap them in and share with them the information and ask them to share that information as well.
Thank you.
I hope that helps.
So just so you know, the team is going to have a booth at Founders Day. That's one of our plans, because we thought that would really... I had one the first year I was here for the master plan, and we had things like tattoos and whatnot. What are we doing, Katie? Bubbles? No, bubbles.
Bubbles and face paint?
Yeah, so we're thinking of ways to, kids want to come over and do things, and that leaves mom and dad the ability to chat with us. So we're trying to figure out ways to get folks we don't usually talk to. And Founders Day is such a big day, so I'm going to be there. I don't know who else I can sucker into coming with me, but we'll be working a booth. So you're all welcome to work the booth and really talk with the community members about this process and sort of like ask questions, give answers, whatnot. So that's one event, but we have others that we're working on, but that's the biggie.
Yeah. I guess it's more of a comment. I think you hit the nail on the head when you said to get more people involved. It seems like in Foxborough, you see the same people at town meeting that are voting on big issues, $100 million budget, and it'd be nice to be able to get the word out, to get other people to at least give their input. So we know we're trying to hit the most of the community. It just doesn't seem to work that way a lot here. It's the same people participate in when we need to put a search committee together. It's the same name, so it'd be nice to really get it out there to have a lot of participation in this.
Anybody else?
I actually had a question about the survey. I know you had said that it would be randomly, and is it through mail? Is it through, mail to me is tough, like to get back. That I didn't know if it was something that they would just put out.
Not for the statistics, and I'll let Cheryl answer more technically, but it's a tried and true method. Polco does this. This is what they do.
Yeah.
And in order to be statistically significant, which is a very hard thing to say, this is the way it has to be done, because it can't just be sent randomly. It's all very, that first round is very curated, shall I say? And Cheryl, do you have anything to add to that about the mail and the fact that a lot of people don't check the mail and sort of mail's going out?
Well, I would say that, again, as Paige mentioned, because they do this across the country, they have these also a full range of support materials that Maura will be using to get the word out. You get something in the mail, and it's prepaid postage back, and the package is very attractive, and it doesn't look like advertising, but it's a very attractive packet. And part of the work is to get out the information as soon as we can to let people know, hey, you may have been selected. And if you are, it's critically important that you participate, and this is why. And for the rest of you, don't worry, you'll also get a chance because we want to hear your voice too.
Thank you.
They're very good at what they do. So
Great.
Okay, well, we appreciate it, unless anybody else has any questions. Thank you very much.
I have a question.
Sure,
May I?
come up to the mic, so.
Thank you. Neil Kaiser, Bridge Road. I'm looking at the program that you put up there, and the question I have is, past meetings at the community center and all that had already accumulated certain data. Has that been passed on to them?
It has.
Oh, it has already?
Yes, it has.
So you have that information already, and you'll just get more? Okay, that's all I was wondering, if you had received anything. Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks, Neil.
That's the whole first month or so. We've been uploading documents to them, and they've been reviewing them. So that's what they're doing, all their homework, while we're doing the Polco and whatnot. That they have a lot of homework to do. Thank you. That's a great question.
That was a very good question.
Anything else?
That's it for me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Both Cheryl and Maddie.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you soon.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, a little early. Joe, would you like to come forward for cleanup day?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Joe Garrity, the planning coordinator of the Foxborough Cleanup Day Committee. Before I ask for your approval tonight, I would like to give you a history of how Foxborough Cleanup Day started over a decade ago, if that's okay. In 2013, Jack Osceolet, when he was the town historian, and Tina Bellinger, A.J. Dooley, all came together and decided to do the first annual cleanup day on a really hot June 1st day in 2013. And it was the same day as the road race against diabetes, the 5K. And then each year leading up to 2019, we used to do it we would do it in the spring, and then we had to put it on pause 2020, obviously, because of COVID, and then 2021, after COVID restrictions were lifted, we did it in the fall for 2 years. 21 and 22, we decided to do it around September 11th because of day of service. But then 2023, we tried to do it in the fall again, but just didn't seem to work out with back to school, start of fall activities, extracurricular sports, everything. And then we skipped 2023 and brought it back for 2024 to do it in the spring. We would do it mid-May. One big thing that we've learned, the weekend we try to stay away from, if possible, is junior prom weekend. And then this year we're seeking approval to do it on Saturday, April 11th, 2026. The day starts with coffee, juice, and donuts at the Snyder Electric Picnic Grove. And then people go off to their assigned areas or areas that they choose to clean up in town. And then we end it off with pizza party with sodas, waters, and a bunch of few different raffles that AJ decides to do, like pair of Patriots tickets, a pair of Celtics tickets, and then also last year, Patriot Place donated the shirts, Foxborough Cleanup Day shirts. And then lastly, we try to do the last few years, it makes appropriate sense to do Cleanup Day right around Earth Day because it's early spring. People want to go out and do it compared to September where you're already used to outside. But April, even May, people still want to get outside because you're just coming out of the winter. So I would like to ask the Board of Selectmen to approve Saturday, April 11th, 2026 as Foxborough Cleanup Day, right before Earth Day.
Is this run by the police and fire? Is there any conflicts of any kind? Okay.
Just one question, Joe, is there a rain date, or is it rain or shine?
Rain or shine. Well, last year, speaking of, since you brought that up, we didn't do it the same weekend as Mansfield had their 250 parade. I was thinking if it was a good idea, but we had to do it the weekend of junior prom last year. So it was off and on rain, but during the cleanup time, it wasn't too bad. So it was a rain or shine event last year, even though we didn't get much participants last year because of the rain, and plus it was junior prom. So that's why I'm glad we're doing it in April this year. So that's in between Easter weekend, after Easter, and the start of April vacation weekends.
Good choice.
So that's the only in-between weekend. So just wanted to make sure that's the green light.
Okay. You have a motion?
Yep, I'd like to make a motion to approve the 12th Annual Foxborough Cleanup Day set for Saturday, April 11th, 2026.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none? Thank you, Joe.
Great
Thanks,
job,
Joe.
Bill.
Thanks, Joe. Great job.
Thank you.
Street naming process. Neil, would you like to join us?
Sorry,
Would you like to join us for this?
do we have to?
No, you don't?
You all know Mr. Forensic?
Yep.
I'm sure they do.
Still in shorts.
Great day for shorts. I don't want to disappoint anybody that knows me.
I think it's supposed to be 0 tonight, FYI.
A great day for him in shorts. Yeah. Neil Kaiser, Ridge Road here in Foxborough. I've been here before with requests on naming streets here in town after the veterans who have passed in different clashes and different battles, whatever, members and citizens from Foxborough. I asked Mr. Forensic to come today in case there's any questions that he can answer a lot better than I can. I've given you a lot of information already. A lot of it came from the Historical Commission. And I've mentioned to you that I'm adamant about doing this. You know my reasons. There are some differences between the commission and myself and my feelings, but we can get over all that and work around it. My thought right now is, as a board, as selectmen, select women, and as a board, whatever they feel needs to be done, needs to be done. And no ifs, ands, ors about it. No other names, no other what, until all of these names are used up on future streets. The only request that I really am emphatic about is, and I haven't been able to discuss it with Mr. Forensic, the rank of the soldier needs to be in front of the name or his last name for the name of the street. In other words, they gave you an example down on the Korean Veterans Road. Lieutenant Anderson is the name of the street that goes off of that road. To me, that's my feeling. Now, I can't vouch for the gentleman here, but to me, that designates something important. People go by a street and they see Main Street, Curry Road, they see all these names. They don't mean anything to them. When they go by something like Judge Warren Drive, they go, oh, wow, that's different. And they notice it. That's what needs to be done. And I know that there's been a discussion with a plaque above or below the name of the street, which is fine. But the name of the street still has to have that person's rank on it. My personal feelings.
I might add, that's my opinion too. It's also what the board has recommended. We sent a couple letters and we recommended that the name have the rank up front. We had talked about additional information like possibly branch of service or something, which may be a separate, smaller plaque on the street sign, but the street itself, we feel, and we have recommended, should have the rank of the service person.
So my understanding was when this discussion came up before, and we did run it by public safety, there was a concern with having LT in front of half a dozen different street names. Because when something comes in, obviously somebody on the receiving side of the call, could make a mistake where the first thing they're going to hear is, LT blah, 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 and it could be 6 or 7 of those. And so that's why we originally came up with the plaque concept, where we could put all the details. And it basically was a public safety issue or concern. So I think the board was pretty, unanimous in understanding what they were saying. You don't want to create, potential issue, especially if you came to 2 names that were similar in names, as far as being, maybe starting with B and having.
Wills or Willis.
Right,
It could,
it could really, again, the person on the communication side could really, make a mistake, and that would obviously could be disastrous, which we don't want to face. So that's why the plaque, conceptually with all of the information, the full, drawn out name, the maybe even the branch in which they were in, what their rank was, seemed to make more sense. We know other communities are doing that as well, which again, I think from a public safety point of view makes sense. So that's kind of the reason why it didn't go that route in the first line.
May I?
Go ahead. Yeah, sure.
Have you talked to the chief of police? Have you talked to the chief of fire?
They were the ones who brought that up originally.
Have you already talked to them about this?
I have.
Yeah.
Who has?
I asked, remember if you recall, because you were here at Citizens Input, and I know we couldn't have a full discussion, so I had said, I mentioned it would be
Right.
good to bring it back up again. Was everybody on the board without, no, I don't, okay. I know you and I were. That board at that time, we were pretty firm with talking to both chiefs. I'll be honest with you, what we've been shown, and I think when you say no one's going to know what that is, with that extra piece of plaque, whether it's above or below, I think, to me, that would stand out to me to say, hey, look, this is someone we're honoring. I myself, just speaking for myself, will not vote for anything in front of the name or after the name.
Okay.
Because I just don't want that confusion, that somebody calls for 911 or someone, they forget what they remember, I'm just using a name. They remember it's Williams, but they
I
don't.
can understand your
yeah,
feeling
they don't
about it and
remember
your statements about it,
what
but
the-
I have
yeah.
talked to the chief of the fire chief. I have not heard back from the chief of police. And I gave him a number of streets in town that have double names on them. And there's 40-some streets. He uses GPS to get to the streets. He did say that he had a problem with double names, and I understand that. To me, I'm adamant about that rank, just like, you're adamant not to have it because of whatever else will be on there. To me, that gets your eye and your memory going as soon as you see that lieutenant or private, or sergeant, or whatever it may be, on that first sign.
Could
And
I ask a
then that
question?
might stop you to
Could
look.
lieutenant be a policeman? Like if someone sees lieutenant, are they gonna?
Was he
like, to
killed in
me-
a conflict?
Yeah. Say it again?
This is all about military people that were killed in a conflict.
No, but my point is, if there's a street sign, like I say we know, but if somebody else is driving, they see lieutenant, could that be a firefighter? Like, you know what I mean?
It gets their attention.
Yeah. I'm-
Whether they think it's a fire department or a police department or whatever, it gets their attention. Yes,
Which
sir.
defeats the purpose of what you want it for, right?
That doesn't defeat it.
Well-
It gets their attention.
Well, if it-
That's my
Well,
thought.
Okay, pretty much I've said how I feel about it.
Right, no, I mean,
Yeah,
it's-
yeah.
we can-
I'll let somebody else talk, yeah.
Yeah, but I think what gets my attention even more than the rank in front of the name is the plaque up above it. Because the plaque up above it is going to give you a lot more information. And personally, that's, I'll look at the plaque up above it before I'll even look at the street name, because that interests me of how that person gave his life for the community. Again,
Okay.
my opinion.
Oh, yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah.
And if,
Because it also gives more information. You know, his rank, maybe the year he passed, or the year he was in the service, or she was in the service, what branch of the service.
I think part of the frustration, though, is that there's been a few street signs out with, and they haven't selected any of the names. So whether there's a black
Has
or
that
not.
happened? I thought as of our last meeting, when we voted, when you came in, how many years ago was that? And our veteran service representative was here, I thought that was a done deal.
Bob Bodie. And but that was you discussed specifically why you did Bob Bodie. No, he
Correct.
wasn't killed in action, but he's alive now and he's been a volunteer. And so, you as the board have that decision-making authority, and I think you made an educated and informed decision. You knew, you didn't forget, you didn't poo-poo it. And I know I checked with Michelle at that time, and no, it's not kill in action, but he is a veteran, and that's her main focus, is to make sure veterans are recognized. So I think that was the one I could think of. And there might have been one that had already been named prior to the policy, some
Right.
older the subdivision, but beyond that, I'm not aware.
I feel there was one right
Right on the
then
cusp.
that unfortunately, I think by the time this came to us, and it was already in the process, if I recall.
But I think going forward, every street in the community is going to be named from that list we gave Michelle, or Michelle gave us.
Gave you, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that sounds good.
Is there, because Mr. Bodie was added, is that troublesome to you? I mean, I think we've already moved forward with it, so I don't think we can go backwards. But
Well-
just for the future,
I don't want to tick off the board. I'm going to speak my mind here.
yeah.
And I'm probably going to tick off their board too.
You're consistent.
And I don't have a problem with that. I listen to what you're saying and I can understand it. I am talking, when the very first time I came in about this, and it's been 2 years, and I mentioned that it needs to be names of soldiers that have died in a conflict that are from Foxborough. To me, the select board picks the name and they say, okay, this is what it will be. Whether a contractor comes in and gives you a name of their aunt or their uncle or their nephew or whatever, and you accept that name, nobody knows what that's going to be. Nobody cares. These are people that need to be recognized, and the only way that I see that they're recognized is by having that grade put in front of their name. And then you can do the extra plaque above or below if you want. But that should be on there, period. That's how I feel. And I'll tell you right now, as far as I understand the whole situation, and this is what's going to tick you off probably, you make the decision to name a street. It's not a soldier that died in a conflict. I'm going to argue until it's done. I will go to town meeting when you pronounce the street to be accepted. And I will put it on hold, and I will make a plea to the townspeople to name the street after a soldier. I am going to do that if I have to. I am adamant. So just to let you know, and if I'm ticking you off, I apologize, but like I've said all along, this
I
is
actually
my...
commend you for, I don't agree with you, but
No,
I
I
do
don't
commend you
agree,
for...
like I say,
for-
I don't agree with you, and that's okay.
Paige,
That's what this
other
is
than-
for.
other- Did we miss something, and do we bypass something other than,
I think this
Bodie's-
board is committed to this policy.
here we are.
Committed to the policy. I
How
don't
are
think
you?
there's an
I
argument.
just want to
He's
make
going to
sure.
argue on both.
Yeah, you must be watching TV.
No, he was behind
He was
you.
I was
here.
here. So I was here when you proposed with a veterans agent to move this initiative forward. No-brainer. Can I ask how many names we have left on our list that have to be street names or will be street
Well, there's
names?
only 2 that were named, and I think there was 7.
Well, there's 29 town squares, and there's a few streets that already share a name, so we're talking somewhere in the nature of 20-something.
4, 5, 6,
So are
7.
we gonna take all of the squares and move them on to street names too?
Starting with Vietnam anyway, the most recent ones, because
So
they
we
figured they'll
have-
have people
So it'd be
around.
Kinsman, Baldwin,
Yep.
Arthur Brown Sr., Robert Curry, George Metcalf, Mark Grigsby, and William Grutch. So those are the ones that are on the list right now. So the next 7 roads I anticipate would be named after them.
So what was that total number?
7.
7.
7, 2 have a name waiting,
And then we're good?
and that's Kinsman and,
Baldwin?
I'm sorry?
Baldwin?
Thank you.
So then we would
So
be in a
that
good
leaves
place.
5. And then there's names from other wars and conflicts.
Okay.
That these people would be named.
How many total is that?
What's the total?
I don't have the other wars, World War II, World War I, II, and Korea. I do not have the
There's
totals.
29 total,
There's 29 total.
and there's already some existing streets, like Baldwin, like Lieutenant Anderson, so there's probably 25.
So if we take the different military divisions
Yep.
and the different ranks, how many duplicates do we have? I'd love to know what the duplicates, maybe
Cook.
one.
Yeah.
So I can tell you, as the fire chief said, and we start dispatching, everything's going GPS. Everything's going on your terminal eventually, and your locations are gonna be pinpointed on your terminals.
But the point, Chief, is not how you're getting to the place. The point is, did you get the right address to look up the GPS on?
Sergeant Smith, Sergeant Jones, they're pretty easy.
Sergeant Jonas, Sergeant Jones, they picked the wrong one.
Well, that could happen with
That's-
every.
You know, quite honestly,
SEMREC is not recommended, like, it is not recommended to add those same names in front.
Put the rank in front.
Well, when you say only 2 duplicates, right? So eventually, are we going to try to make the squares? Are we going to hit the squares to be a street after we hit the 7? Is that 20 number? I don't know how we only going to have 2 duplicates, by rank,
you know,
right?
yeah.
No, by duplicates, there were 2 guys named Cook,
Okay.
Exact same name,
I-
uncle and nephew.
Joseph
Well,
Cook.
okay,
yeah.
but for us, we're talking about the rank being duplicates, not just.
I don't even know how many more roads we got left in Foxborough.
Yeah.
Not only a couple, if
Keep
any.
coming.
Like, there's not many left. So, and they're not gonna be main roads, for sure.
So
I
what's
will
your,
say that when I talked to the fire chief, he thought he had, oh, no, I shouldn't say he thought, he mentioned that he had a dislike for the double names. And I gave him my feeling, and we talked. So, just so you know, but he did tell me we have GPS, and we do go to that.
Do we have duplicate names, first names, last name, and rank?
On the cooks, yes. They're both
So we have a one-off, for sure.
They're both corporal, they're both the same name. Gerald Cook, is it Gerald?
They're both Joseph.
Joseph, okay. Cook. But they were both corporals. His uncle was killed in World War II.
So what are we going to
Marines.
do when we get to a cook? Are we,
We'll figure it out.
yeah, maybe just
First
name
one's easy.
We may have to add a middle
one street,
initial.
one street,
Again, with
maybe
the
two
plaque.
plaques?
We can't have two the same names, so you'd maybe two plaques, I don't even know. I mean, it might be,
Yeah.
you can't have,
Or you take one plaque and you put both names on the plaque.
yeah,
I
exactly.
mean,
Yeah.
that's the
Oh,
beauty of the
yeah,
plaque,
yeah.
is you can
Right.
put whatever you need to put on it.
Because
so.
otherwise, somebody is not going to get the honor.
I mean, I would assume
Right.
if there's a plaque going on that it would have the conflict that he was killed in,
Yeah.
being World War, for the cooks. Corporal
But if we
Corporal
come up
Cook,
with
his
Cook and
uncle was
Cook-
killed in World War II in the Pacific, and the nephew was killed in Vietnam. So that, I'm assuming that would be on the plaque if things are going to be added.
Okay.
I appreciate your
sorry?
input. I appreciate your input and your passion, Mr. Kaiser. I like the idea of the descriptive plaque because, you know, having grown up in Foxborough and walked my children through all the streets of Foxborough, it could be a learning moment when you stop at that instead of seeing, you know, Lieutenant Anderson Drive. If you had more, you could share that. That's just my thought on a more detailed plaque.
Thank you. I do know that during the Founder's Day, not Founder's Day, but the Memorial Day and like that, when they have the things up here on the common, they have all the crosses on the common fence. And then people see it, they read it, and they go home and they forget about it. And maybe when they see it on the street sign, they might say, oh, I remember. That's what's important to me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I don't know what else I can tell you. Maybe Mr. Forensic has more input and he has more knowledge about all of it. My only other thing to you is please, if you do decide on something, please contact him. Let his board know what you're doing. He has sent you the letters that you requested, and then my understanding, he didn't hear anything else. You named 2 streets, and we had no idea. I drove by and I went, oh. In response to your question about Bodie Road, I know the gentleman. I've talked to them. I sit next to him on election day, and we tally. All that stuff. He's a nice gentleman. He's a great guy. I have no qualms about it. But I'm upset. It's a new street, and it's not named after a soldier that was killed in a conflict. So please, 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 name those streets.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you.
So this was the discussion, that we're going to, at a later time, vote on this, or?
You already voted. We
already
We're not
voted. It's
changing
already
the
our
policy.
policy.
We're
Yeah.
not changing, so.
I think your
okay.
policy still stands.
Licensing procedure and regulations for commercial parking.
I'd like to invite Chief Grace on up.
I'm not sure I want to.
He made him calm, he might as well talk, right?
Sure, why not? We gotta love the passion.
So I will commend Chief Grace and Deputy Chief Noonan. They held a meeting this morning with all the satellite parking lot owners, and Katie does obviously a great job getting in touch with them and serving as the glue, and we had a fabulous turnout. I was just there as an observer, and you did a great meeting, Chief.
Yeah, it was excellent.
It was an excellent meeting. Everyone was very well attended. It also shows how much curiosity and folks in Foxborough are just anxious for information. I think they're a segment of that population about World Cup. So if you want to just explain why this is happening right now and give us a little background.
Yeah, so we're moving a little quick with our FIFA planning, and we're looking at some of our concerns potentially as we assess the security posture for the event. Unlike football games, concerts, we have a lot of historical data. We know where they played 3 or 4 cities beforehand, and we have all the intel coming in. football games as well. World Cup is, a one-off, times 7. And one of the concerns through the threat analysis is if we have unticketed fans showing up, and how many there are, and how do we manage them. So as a, what's the term, as a kind of a preemptive strike of let's not get to that point, we are working in regards to ticket sales for parking, train passes with the MBTA for a ticket verification prior to buying a ticket. So with the intent to eliminate people from coming here. So one of the options that we have in our event license is the chief can require that anybody entering the parking lots have to have a ticket. What we never did is we never carried that language over to the commercial parking lots. Historically, if we had a situation in which we have in the past, the satellite lot owners have always adhered to it if we asked them to implement that, which we did during the Country Fest days. So we eliminated people just going into the parking lots, partying, and causing problems. So this is kind of, this change in the current parking license regulation is implementing a requirement that if, depending on the event, if I require the parking owners have to check the vehicles coming in to make sure they have tickets. And it gives the town and myself the authority to implement that. It's not really a money cost to any of the commercial parking lot owners. It is a logistical challenge in regards to getting the cars in fast enough, queuing them, having a turnaround, which they could have that anyway if people didn't have money or they didn't want them there. So they already have that in place. But this just gives the town and myself the authority, which I will be implementing for FIFA. Let me be very clear. No ticket, no entry.
Chief, can you explain the fan march thing, just because I don't think many people know what that's about and what the concern there is?
So, soccer in general, the passion that the fans have is they like to gather prior to the match. They like to sing songs, drums, music, and they like to march towards the stadium. Some are very organized. Some of them are pop-up marches. We anticipate we will have those for World Cup. Go online, look at some of them over in Europe and other parts of the world. Them showing up, and we have a process for managing that crowd and slowing it down and separating it, and we'll have pre-ticket check, we'll have a ticket check, we'll have a security check. We will be able to work with FIFA through a multiple check process on those tickets before we kill it and they enter into the stadium. But obviously, if we have large marches and we have people without tickets who join those marches, it creates a little bit of a challenge. And we want to avoid that at all costs, with people jumping in without tickets, trying to get into the stadium, potentially doing a crowd surge or something like that. So we just want to do everything that we can to prevent people who don't have a ticket from showing up here. It's great they're fans, but this is not the place to come if you don't have a ticket. If you got a ticket to World Cup, we can't wait to have you. If you don't have a ticket, don't come. And we're going to do everything we can through the licensing part, selling pocket, working with the MBTA, and then on our part, we're going to do everything we can as we, as the town, is in charge of all of the lots under this regulation. Sir?
Yeah, is there going to be some sort of media involvement with don't come to Foxborough if you don't have a ticket?
Oh, yeah, we will start to push that out as we work closer. We have communications with FIFA and all the teams. All those are in place as well. So we will have what we call a fan march workbook with all the points of contact for every single group, every single team. You know,
I don't even mean just the march, I just mean in general.
Like, don't
Yes.
come,
If you don't have a
Yes.
ticket,
Very similar to what I did with Channel 5 on the Patriots playoff game, getting the message out, come early, guess what? It worked perfectly. Almost no traffic, everybody was in their seats, none of the gates were backed up at kickoff, and people were great. This crowd is a little different from what we see. They don't really tailgate, that's not their thing. Especially if you're taking potentially 25, 30,000 people that are taking public transportation. They don't have a car, they don't have a grill, and they don't have a cooler. We're gonna do everything we can. We're gonna push lots, we're gonna get them in early, so that way we don't have any of these issues. But there will be, Boston is planning for marches as well, but that's assuming that they have a fan festival. Most of the cities throughout the country already have their fan festivals designated, up and running. People are gonna march to them. Ours is struggling at best. So another concern is if the fan festival isn't what people expected, they may want to try to come here. So this just gives us a little more authority in our license.
Would it be something as technical or labor-intensive as a van? I had asked Paige this same question this week. If a van is pulling into a private lot, a satellite lot, are they going to ask if there's 8 people in the vans to show that there were 8 tickets? I mean, is that
I don't think we're going to...
Is that even possible?
Yeah, what we're going to do is we will share information about what the tickets, et cetera, what FIFA shares with us. We will share with the lot owners. We'll keep communication, and it's going to be their best effort. And common sense is going to have to prevail.
Yeah.
But the lot owners are also going to be communicating with us, and we'll have a two-way communication if they see things, if people are renting out lots and things along that line. So we'll be ahead of it, managing it.
I saw on Good Morning America,
Uh-oh.
they were talking about just World Cup coming to the States, and there was 2 guys from Scotland, and they were just like, we're going, we don't have tickets, we don't know if we'll get tickets, we'll try to get tickets, talking about the whole, looking for homes to rent, to stay in. So there's a lot of talk on, I know Paige, you probably are like, oh no, Steph, don't even say it. There's a lot of talk on social media, people are just like, the town has no right to tell us that we can't, whatever. I don't think it would be such a nightmare to get into that. I guess the question I have for you though is, for people that are just like saying, listen, I can rent my house if I want to rent it out. If there's a big issue at a home, so a bunch of people rent it, they Airbnb, and all of a sudden there's some big huge party and the police are called, is there going to be some mechanism then to be like, whether it's a fine or, I don't mean if it's just people enjoying themselves, but if there's some big ruckus that is calling, with everything going on at a game, now you guys are also, manning the town, then to have stuff like that.
That's what we do.
Is there any...
We get a call for service, we handle it. If they're breaking
Yeah.
the law, we enforce the law.
Yeah, but is there anything going to be on the homeowner? Like, I know we're not going to stop looking to see who's renting, who's doing this, but if there becomes a real issue, is there any mechanism for the town?
Fines can be assessed if you violate zoning. And we are, just so you know, and I think I mentioned this in one of our earlier meetings, I am putting together sort of a contact sheet, and it's basically by subject area. If you have trouble you see somebody camping on public property, call this number, call this agency. If you have problems so we're not going to have the resources to actively monitor Airbnb and whatnot, but certainly even if residents are diming each other out, I don't know that we're going to have the ability to do that, but absolutely if there's a public safety concern, a health concern, anything like that, our team will be at the ready. We are going to publicize to the residents these resources. If you have a question about noise, contact this. If it's during an event, contact that team. Stadium Advisory, we are meeting, I believe Stadium Advisory is going to meet next Thursday night. They're starting their conversation. They've been monitoring sort of what's in the news. So we absolutely will not be shirking our responsibilities, but and any real issues will be investigated and handled as appropriate. But honestly, we just don't have the resources. Yeah. I tried to track down the parking lot people back before any of this World Cup. They have parking spaces, and I'm on Google Earth for an hour trying to find this driveway and that house. It's too much for us to chase down. Obviously, we keep letting people know that zoning doesn't allow it. Some people want to follow the rules, others will not. You know, it's at their own risk. There's also possible insurance implications for them if something happens, but, you know, again,
That's on them.
Yeah, that's on them, and, but we will always be there for the residents if there is a true concern. I know that the public safety team is at the ready.
And Stephanie, what I would warn people is just be so cautious of the scammers. There's going to be every person in the world is going to be looking at everybody's websites. They're going to be changing one part of it. They're going to be hijacking it. People are going to think they're buying stuff. They're going to think they're trading stuff. They're not going to be trading with the right person, and they're going to be out of money very quickly.
Yeah.
It's very common.
And, I mean, everyone's different. Like, I mean, I don't know, if someone said, I'll give you $100,000 to rent your house, maybe I'd think about it. But for me, it's not appealing to me that people are going to be in your house, they'll ruin your stuff, they'll do whatever. But there's some people that, if there's a high dollar amount, it's worth it for them to do it, and so be it. I was just curious if we had anything, if there was a real issue, not, I know you guys can't be tracking everybody down just because they rented their house.
I think the whole point of what Paige has been doing as far as making the announcement is just to make sure people can't come back later and say, oh, we didn't know. If you didn't know after being told every week or every bi-weekly.
You were quoted on Facebook, someone said, the town manager each meeting has been mentioning it.
So,
And I'm
and that's the
sorry.
point.
Yeah.
And that's our only point, you know, and like you said, if something goes wrong, it will be dealt with.
Yep.
And they won't have that excuse, as far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
And
Can
go
I
ahead.
ask you one other question? It's kind of regarding the stadium, but a little bit
Parking?
offbeat.
Is it
No,
parking?
well, no, so
Okay.
we were, I was discussing that, this last game, I've seen it many times, but this last game, seemed like there were so many people. And I know the season's over now, but we'll have concerts or other things. So if you're a resident using the back way in, the access road, big signs going in, big signs coming out, no pedestrian access. So there are more people walking up and down. They're trying to get, I mean, the whole reason that access road, they're trying to get you in and out quickly. So, and usually it's mostly going in, it's one lane, right? Coming out, mostly one lane. But I happened to come out and there were so many people walking on there. It's snowing, in's coming a police car the other way. Is there a reason why it's clearly marked, but nobody enforces it there?
Private property. They have to enforce it.
The crafts have to enforce
Yeah.
it? Okay,
It's their job
okay.
to
Will that be
prevent.
used for World Cup, that access road?
Which one? The one,
The
which,
West Street one?
yeah. I mean, we can,
Part of
I
our
mean,
life.
aside from public safety, I mean, our patrons?
Yes,
ticket
part of the
holders?
Yeah.
licensing agreement will have
Yeah.
to deal with that as well.
It would probably be suite owners and people, you know, that.
yeah, they
that
have a
it
number.
comes with
They have a
their-
number allocated.
Yeah.
Oh,
for-
so nothing changes, okay.
Yeah. Okay, I was just wondering, I was just kind of like, it's clearly unsafe.
So just be mindful when we talk about, oh my God, all these people, the MBTA is hoping between 18 and 20,000 on the trains.
Yeah.
That's
We
key.
got 9, 10 trains.
That's great.
And now we start adding in buses, maybe hundreds of buses. We only could be looking at 30,000 people in cars. That's a big
Yeah.
Revs game.
Yeah, well, no, this isn't really just FIFA, I found it to be very unsafe for pedestrians, but so obviously that's something that maybe we need to, if anyone else on the board thinks is concerned about it, that's something we would bring up with the crafts, that they're allowing people to, it very clearly marked, no pedestrian access, and there must have been 50, 60 people walking as I was coming in and out. It was like a trail. I just thought it seemed unsafe.
Yeah, it's kind of a loaded question. There's a lot to that. Why they're walking out, where are they going? Are they going to local residents' houses? Are they guests there? Are they Uber pickups? Like, there's all this. That's another 3 hours.
Yeah,
How's that?
all right, thank you.
Every time you come, and this topic comes up, I learn something new. And that's just me hearing it, you know, at this level. I can't even imagine the amount of information that's floating around in that head of yours. And the heads of all of your team. It's
Oh, yeah.
astounding.
We're all in.
So does anybody have any questions or concerns with the licensing procedure as presented?
No, it's number 11, right?
Right.
Yep. No, I don't.
All right, is
All right.
there a motion?
Yep, motion to update the town's licensing procedure and regulations for commercial parking as discussed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
award the disposition of real property located at 175 Mechanic Street.
So just to clarify this, we did go out to bid on 175 Mechanic Street and received one bid from the Sage School, which was kind of the party we knew was very interested since their property basically surrounds this property. They placed a bid for $350,000.01. That was the winning bid. So we are asking that the board vote to award this disposition, and Bill needs to sign a document for that, and then that way we can go ahead and pass it on to the attorneys and get the purchase and sale finalized and sell the property.
So it was $350,001, not 1 cent.
Oh, really? Okay, sorry, my bad, I've forgotten.
Just so we.
$1. We made 99 cents more than I claimed.
You don't have any more pennies.
I know, no.
Right.
Motion to award the disposition of real property located at 175 Mechanic Street pursuant to the RFP process to the Sage Center for Learning Incorporated for $350,001.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town manager update.
Oh, okay. Let's see. I actually don't have too much today. We did get an email from Paul Ivanauskas and the audit committee letting us know that the annual audit is moving along and he will schedule a meeting when ready, but just keep us posted that it is in progress. Today was another marathon day, but I did complete, the finance team, Brandon and Marie and I completed our meetings with all departments about their budgets, all the town departments. So now we're working on balancing said budget. Wish us luck. World Cup update. With respect to the license status, I did say that we were awaiting FIFA response on town comments. I sent an email out on Friday just checking in with them, and I did receive a response from World Cup Boston that says we are working on a detailed response and liaising with FIFA on this correspondence. We will have that with you next week, and please be assured we are working diligently on progressing this matter. So they are working on it. We met last week the town staff met last week to review the site plans for this property during World Cup, and that's being led by Catherine Fierick in the planning department, and she's working with the craft group. They're actually handling the site plan process for FIFA. As I said, I've been coordinating with George Bell, the Stadium Advisory Committee, he's been sending articles from the Boston Globe. If you haven't seen it, there's been a few Globe articles. And he is requesting a meeting next Thursday night, so that will be held at the library, I believe at 5 or 5:30. And it might be a little early for that. I'm not sure we're going to have all the answers, but I think it's not the worst idea to get them up to speed and get the team ready for what comes next. Because once we get into licensing, that's probably going to have to move relatively quickly. We have a meeting with the governor's office on Friday. It's going to be the two chiefs, me and Bill. Are you joining in by teams?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to be talking to the governor's office then. We'll see. My understanding is that MassDOT and the MBTA will be invited. So our primary concern obviously remains the financing part of it, that we want the money up front and in escrow or some form of guarantee, more than a guarantee, in our hands before we start deploying security. So we're going to talk with the governor's office I was speaking with them on another matter last week, and I said, by the way, do you know that, and then that's when they realized that they would want to meet with us. So we're thrilled. We'll take any meetings. And my usual reminder that short-term rentals are prohibited by zoning in Foxborough, as is selling of parking spaces. Katie Lee McCarthy of the police department and I have been working on trying to determine the impact of Gillette events and the number of Gillette events. And for this year, we have 2026 calendar year, we're over 70. So stay tuned. That's a lot. Katie?
Quick question.
Yeah.
On events and stuff like that. Anywhere along the line, we got a notice again today that some big concert's coming at the end of the year. Do you get notified? I mean, obviously, we're not getting notified as a board, but are you guys getting notified that
Jess has been giving us a heads up that things are coming up. I mean, the one anomaly was the friendly soccer match. We read about that in the Globe. but my understanding was Jess wasn't even aware of it at that point, so, but no, she's
Like
been...
Bruno Mars, you knew about it
Well,
ahead
we
of
knew there
time?
was a possibility of a second show, so I didn't necessarily know they were going on sale. Maybe I did, but she's been doing a much better job letting us know, yes, that,
And the one that we just got today,
which one's
that we
that?
could buy early, did you guys get that?
BTS.
Oh, yes, we knew about that.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't even know what that is, but
It's-
I was curious.
The boy band.
I asked it to Ryan, what is,
band.
I didn't know what it was
No
either.
idea.
So what's BTS?
I think it's a huge phenomenon.
Yeah.
2 nights, they went 2 nights automatically, so that kind of tells you, you know, Bruno Mars started with 1, and if the demand warranted, they'd go to 2, and then they ultimately did. BTS came out with 2, so that's kind of how I gauge it. So yes, Jess has been doing yeoman's work trying to keep me informed. As you know, the tickets go on sale before they're licensed, so I mean, we have this
Yeah.
this inability, and I know due to confidentiality, a lot of times they can't, you know, they can't wait. So I kind of get it, but it is very challenging. And I think when we start to see these numbers, at a certain point, I question how much our public safety officials can take, honestly.
Yeah, how sustainable is it?
Yeah, this, seeing what this World Cup is doing is, I mean, I'm spending most of my time on World Cup now. So public safety's been doing this for months and months and months, and it's now to a point where we are all in all the time. So it's a lot. Now, obviously, World Cup is a one-time phenomenon, but beyond the World Cup, we have 50-something, 60 other events. I mean, so.
Yeah, and I think it's the difference of the old stadium days when it was the, 10 football games and, before we even had soccer, didn't have concerts back then and everything. Now, virtually, the departments are 24/7, 365 days, having to deal with, staffing issues and everything. It doesn't, I think that's the big eye opener that I've kind of been going through as I learn about more and more events is the reality is that, our public safety, police and fire, basically have to be planning every day of the week, of every day of the year, to basically manage all the events that are happening up there, staffing-wise, and then you turn that around and we're paying through our payrolls. Yes, we're getting an administrative fee, but it's like, it's a huge cycle. We are sucked in as part of the business enterprise up there, and it's using our resources.
And that brings up a point. Is there a discussion in the future where we tap out and say, we can't do any more this year?
I think
I'm not saying it's this year, but I'm saying.
Well, I think this year we're going to have some discussions relative to our cost and
Absolutely.
our things. I mean, we're not too far away from that kind of a discussion. And I think one of the issues that was kind of put into us was on the parking lot fees and stuff like that. I think we'll be revisiting them, and I think it's now because we have some real information. We were told to do something and do the research on what it really cost us up there. And the chiefs have basically been working on that for us, and we'll be, I think, shortly at a point where we can bring it to this board and have a broader discussion as to how we do manage this. But I think to, Paige's point, this is just, if you look at the calendar now, it's every month. I mean, February seems like the only break month, and now they're talking about concerts going all the way into October. Obviously, you've got the teams starting to play at that point. It is a lot, and it's, again, we aren't a private enterprise. We are using our resources to manage, the same resources that are supposed to be managing our town, to manage their security.
Right, well, and I'm hoping our chiefs don't have their egos to the point where they could come to us and say, we can't do another one anymore.
No, they have. They're coming to us now with what, there's multiple ways to handle this, Doc, whether it's not taking on, additional, or whether it's saying that you got to support differently. But there's definitely, we're at that point, unfortunately, where, it has gone from, a very simple conceptual thing to something now that's really, not even just with World Cup. When you look at the amount of security that's required for large event spaces, it's very different than it was 10, 15 years ago. So, and I think the chiefs, deputy chiefs, everything, I think they do a phenomenal job trying to keep up with this. But again, to keep up with it means they're not doing our general policing, but they're doing, research to find out what the next major issue potentially could be for them. So I think stay tuned is the way I would put it at this point.
Good.
And Paige, I know we've been told that sometimes it's confidentiality, like they don't want until the tickets are coming out, so they don't want anybody else to know until that blast when the tickets are come. And I could live with us not knowing right then, but
Public safety.
public safety, I feel like public safety and you need to know. And I think they just have to have trust that, you guys aren't going to run out and start saying, oh, guess who's coming? Bruno Mars is coming. Because you're the town manager and you will be professional enough not to do that. And even, like, I'm throwing you in that category, but more importantly, like, for me, is I just think of the Chiefs. Like, because now they just need to know, we've got 2 more concerts. We've got 2 more concerts, and there's 2 more. So are they at least the Chiefs being notified?
I can say that I did for sure on the Chiefs as well. We knew this year the
Okay.
lineup of concerts.
Okay.
They did take me into confidence, and I've watched them roll out. So, again, and I understand their concern. It's not just their desire to be confidential. They're actually signing legal contracts with usually Live Nation, where they're legally bound to not disclose. So at times they do tell, but it's under the full, I am not able to disclose. You can all say, I never told any of you all. But we do make sure the Chiefs are aware so that they can have an understanding of what's coming.
Yeah, because we know we're the ones that are going to issue the license, but I'm not as concerned about us. I mean, we seem to issue the licenses based on that we really haven't had so many problems. What Bill's bringing up now is a different issue with what's in dock with so many events. But yeah, as long as you know and the Chiefs know, I'm okay with it then getting to this table once it's, so as long as you guys know. I just wasn't sure if that was, I thought it might be.
I think communication's doing
Yeah.
great. It's much
Okay.
better. I think what you're hearing me react to, and again, I think the Chiefs, they're as cool as the other side of the pillow. They take this and they're not complaining as much. There are some concerns about resources. They're not saying no. So that's the thing. I think I'm just looking at it saying, at what point does the team break? And they're not telling me that they're breaking. They might need help. They might need to look at things a little differently, but I don't want to make it seem like they're crying mercy. It's just, when we did the counting of the events, it's just dramatically different. And we are looking back at, say 2015 to kind of get an order of magnitude. It just feels, because even though I get notified or they get notified, there's no in there, so it's
a done
thank
deal.
you for letting me know, but it's just, you see this sort of avalanche coming at you, and this year in particular, we all kind of thought there'd be a slow concert season. And when I look at, the summer for those public safety officials, every, July might be a little, after World Cup, they'll get a couple week respite, maybe, I don't even know. But then they go right into the swing, and it's every weekend, and to the point I think it was built, just getting the resources. At some point, we have to rely on a lot of police officers from other communities. Chief Grace has concerns sometimes, not everybody wants to work every weekend of every summer. So again, I shouldn't speak for them because, like I said, they're very cool. They take this, they're just like, this is our job, this is what we do. They have it under control. But as a manager, seeing the magnitude of it, I do get concerned. And again, when I did all the union negotiations, I wish I could pay them everything they deserve, because they are bringing in a lot of revenue here, but it's one-time revenue. We can't turn that around and pay our salaries with that. So it's like, it feels like, I think you've heard me say, it's like on the backs of our public safety. We do bring in decent revenue, and that helps with our free cash, but it doesn't help us provide more officers or more firefighters. We can't do the recurring, so it's a bit challenging, but I think, like Bill said, we're looking into things. We're trying to get a handle on some of the strategies that we could try to provide some pressure relief for the public safety officials. Okay, communications. We are working with IT and facilities to determine if we can use the existing digital sign at the old senior center. We are going to there's a walkthrough tomorrow. We're going to let them know that we're taking it. We think we're going to just remove it, either put it on town hall or put it at the community center, because it's a $20,000 item. It's, to buy a new one would probably be double that. So it's not a lot of bells and whistles, but especially here in front of Town Hall, I don't think we want colors and flashing lights. We really just want to be able to disseminate information. So Tony and Aaron and I are all looking at it. And Tony's going to and we're going to issue an addenda for the RFP to let folks know that that is not included with the purchase. I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but Foxborough is being recognized with an award for first place in the Category 2, population 15,000 to 30,000, for the Mass Municipal Association's annual town report contest. So congratulations to Maura for that. I'm going to be attending the Mass Municipal Association conference this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I'm most anxious for Saturday morning. We have a meeting with Maya, and that's when we'll learn the ranges of the health insurance. Last year we got the bad news, and I'm assuming this year will be more bad news, but we are going to get at least an idea of the order of magnitude of how bad insurance is looking this year, and I'll let Marie know that. That will help with our budgeting. With respect to Fox Alerts, that's on the front page of the website to sign up. We have over 1,000 signed up now, so kudos to everybody who has signed up. It's been a great resource. And right now on our job boards, all we have is a firefighter paramedic times a couple due to our grant. So if you are a firefighter paramedic interested in coming to Foxborough, please apply. That's all I have.
Select board update, board have any?
Deb and I went to the Veterans Lounge ribbon cutting.
It was great.
Which lounge? I'm sorry.
The Veterans Lounge.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the emphasis and the gratitude that's being given to these veterans is so evident and so obvious, and they're thrilled. The room is amazing. We all saw it for the first time, and kudos to Michelle and her team. Kudos to the veterans that go there and find a spot for themselves. It couldn't have been better, and the room couldn't be nicer. Take a visit sometime.
The only thing I have is go Pats.
Go
right?
Pats.
Got a big game on Sunday.
Doc, anything that you said?
No, all set. I was going to say the same thing. Patriots.
Action items?
Okay, motion to approve 6 one-day beer and wine licenses for B Hopping Brewing LLC, doing business as Wormtown Brewery for February 6th, 7th, 13th, 14th, 20th, 21st, 27th, 28th, from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. at 200 Patriots Place for the comedy scene.
Second.
Am I mistaken, though? They're saying 6 one day, but there's like 8 days here?
Oh, there is 8 days.
5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, there is.
That would be 8.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right.
Would you like
Blur
me to
your eyes
reread
a
it?
little bit.
Apologies, that was me.
All right, I'll reread it. Okay. Motion to approve 8 one-day beer and wine licenses to B Hopping Brewing LLC, doing business as Wormtown Brewery for February 6th, 7th, 13th, 14th, 20th, 21st, 27th, and 28th, from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. at 200 Patriots Place for the comedy scene.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none.
Motion to approve the easement to the Massachusetts Electric Company for a new underground system at pole number 49 on Spring Street as approved at annual town meeting in 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion to approve a use of public way application for Bailey's Team for Autism on Sunday, April 12th, 2026, from 6:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. going down Payson Road towards Chestnut Street, left on Chestnut Street, right on Mechanic Street, right on Railroad Ave, left on Bird Street, right on Baker Street, left on Chestnut Street, and right on Payson Road back to the start.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none.
Motion to approve Select Board meeting minutes from January 6, 2026.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there a motion on this, or did we previously do the easement?
That was already on town meeting. That was approved, and this was just for the select board.
All right, thanks.
We did a little backwards. Apologies.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Night, everyone.
Have a good evening.
Good night.